Hands off Balboa with the ball! Oh my! That's gotta be the goal of the year. We'll call it now. You have got to be kidding me. Tomorrow throwing his body in. It's gonna fall for Ibrahimovic. Oh, come on! Come on! Around Lava. Still Nappy. Around Lofton. Nappy! Sensational! From Darwin to Nappy! To Kansas City!
What is up, everybody? MLS United here. Now, I know I made like a previous episode of saying that I might not be playing the music for that long. It just regards to like how ready I am for the show. I was pretty ready, but for the first episode, I kind of wanted to play the whole intro because I just felt that was right. I don't know. But yes, welcome everybody. I think I've said this multiple times in a lot of things I do on Instagram where I'm like, wow, it's been a really long time since I've done this. Or like, oh, it's been 2 weeks since I've done this. It's literally been like, I don't even know, maybe like a year and a half, maybe even more than a year and a half since I've just done a single Instagram live stream. Like the last time I did a live stream, like, it used to be called MLS, like, United Live, and, like, it was just super gritty. So I am super stoked to finally get a live stream on Instagram series back and to just do something different because it's super easy to just make posts all the time, but after such a long time, it gets super boring, to be honest. So it's good to finally talk in front of the camera again, even though sometimes I wonder if that's really a good thing. But I'm stoked. I'm ready to get this. I'm ready to get this ball rolling. One thing, like I said, I haven't done live stream in forever, but I just realized that there's a fundraising option. Like, I didn't even know there's a fundraising option for Instagram live streams. I was literally starting out the stream, and I saw this little like circle that said fundraising. I'm like, oh, I don't even know what that is. So I checked it out, and it's like a whole bunch of like fundraisers you could do for like organizations, and definitely the whole COVID-19 organizations. So starting next live stream, I'm gonna look more into that, and probably will do that. But I just don't know. I literally saw the fundraising option, and I was like, I really want to do it, but I don't want to do it if I don't know what it is. So I'm going to look into the whole fundraising things. I think that sounds cool, but I also want to make sure I, look into that. What's up, everybody? I'm just trying to make sure I wave. But, oh yeah, so that reminds me. So I failed to mention this during my previous video, but for any comments or anything that goes into the chat, I'm going to try to answer them close to, like, the end of the live stream. But I want to make sure I put the whole questions at the very end so that, because when I used to do this before, I would talk about something, and then somebody would answer or question me something, and then I would get to that first, but then I would forget what I was saying, and then the stream just takes forever. So I'm going to try my best to keep the questions at the end. So for our first ever United Live episode, we are going to talk about the Bundesliga and the return of the Bundesliga, which I got to watch would be last weekend. Most of you probably don't know, but I pretty much started watching soccer pretty much from the Bundesliga. Technically, I started watching soccer in general in the 2014 World Cup, all because of a Germany team. My family, or a decent amount of my family, is from Germany, and more specifically Mainz, Germany. So Germany plays a huge part in my life. So I have decent amount of German gear from my family in the German side, but My first league I ever fell in love with was the Bundesliga, because after the German national team, it led to the Bundesliga. Wait, why are you wearing 3 teams? Wait. Cologne, Germany. Well, I'm wearing a Germany hat, and I'm wearing a Germany jacket, and then I have my FC Cologne scarf. I'm a bit... okay, so lead into what I was saying. The first team I ever just fell in love with was Bayern Munich. I didn't really know too much about soccer, so of course I picked the biggest team in Germany. So I fell in love with Bayern Munich. People talk to me or tell me today, like, oh, you're a Bayern fan. Oh, you're so, like, you fall in love with the best team. But it's like, it's just the first club I ever fell in love with, so I've always had that connection with them. I have an Alphonso Davies jersey literally right there, and a bunch of other Bayern jerseys. But since my family's from Mainz, Mainz is my second team, and then Cologne is my third team. I don't know why. Mainz is because it's technically my family's hometown, at least my German side's hometown. And Cologne, I don't know, I thought they were cool, and I thought the club was cool, and the brand and the badge is like super cool too. But yes, so we are going to be talking about the Bundesliga returning and the U.S. men's national team players that were able to return to playing. But I decided to add on to it because somebody said that I should just do the U.S. men's national team. But this time, or not this time, but I'm going to add to it. We're going to be talking about MLS exports and Canadian men's national team / Alphonso Davies. Because following this, you would understand why I decided to add to just U.S. men's national team, and you'll understand why. So the first player we're going to be talking about who returned to the Bundesliga after the league got suspended just like everything else for the coronavirus pandemic. Tyler Adams, the former New York Red Bulls homegrown midfielder. He started and played for 69 minutes, but then got subbed off by Marcel Sabitzer in the midfield. And RB Leipzig drew Freiburg 1-1, and are now currently sitting in the third place. So, to be honest, I didn't really watch much of Tyler Adams' game, just because at that time I was watching the Dortmund-Schalke game, which we're going to get to that soon. But played 69 minutes before being subbed off. So it wasn't like he was on the bench, got subbed on for only 20 minutes, and that was the end of the game. He started the game, by the way, as right back. I think he could be pretty decent as a right back, but I don't know. I still think Tyler Adams has to be a defensive mid for the U.S. men's national team and RB Leipzig. So I don't understand why RB Leipzig thought, oh, he could be a right back. I don't know. I don't know why that is. But he started, went for 69 minutes, got subbed off, and then got replaced by Marcel Sabitzer, which he's more offensive. So just a little bit of a tactical switch. But overall, good game, or decent play. I mean, he played most of the game. And with the league being back and all that and having to be in full fitness again to play soccer, I say he did pretty good. John Brooks of Wolfsburg, who has won 2-1 over Augsburg, and then almost scored an own goal, or actually did score an own goal, but then they reversed it. But the best part of it all, besides him, I guess it wouldn't be the best part, but I guess the more memorable part was that he completed a season high of 92.1% of his passes. So that's pretty cool. I don't know. Every time I see anything good talked about John Brooks, I just like, what could he be for the U.S. men's national team? You know what I mean? Like, they're like, oh, he completes 92.1% passes, and he does all this for Wolfsburg. But then by the time the U.S. men's national team are doing call-ups, oh, sorry, I'm injured. My bad. Sorry, guys. I'll see you next year. The dude's always injured. It's like, we need you. So anytime I see him like having successful stats and all this crap and everything he does with Wolfsburg, or if it was Hertha Berlin in the past, I'm like, U.S. men's national team, come on. Besides the 2014 World Cup against Ghana, that has literally been the only thing John Brooks has done for the U.S. men's national team. That was 2014. 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. Like, he has not been here for like 5 years. But good for him, at least for being back, I guess. Getting 92.1% of his passes completed in the first game back of the Bundesliga. Still a good honorable mention, but the U.S. men's national team, come on, be fit for the U.S. men's national team. Timothy Chandler, which for Eintracht Frankfurt, I don't know why I said German, like German. I don't know why I said that in German, in a German way. But Eintracht Frankfurt's Timothy Chandler, let me just let you guys know that this guy, before, like, right when Eric Haaland, the Norwegian wonder kid, came to Dortmund, he was second to him in, like, goals per game. At, like, I think it was by, what would have been December, or not December, it would have been February, March. So he went off a good start. If you have a second to best goals for a game, like game ratio, second behind Erling Haaland, which the dude scores like, I don't even know, like at least a goal a game or more, maybe 5 goals a game at times. So he started off well, and then obviously with this whole German restart, it might be different. As it was a tough day for Eintracht Frankfurt's side, which fell 3-1 to Borussia Mönchengladbach. I could say that pretty well, and it took me forever. But that also helps with taking German for 3 years. But the American fullback at least got a run on the field, coming in as a 74th minute substitute for Stefan Linsker. That's a weird one. Linsker. It's seeing out the rest of the contest. So he's fell short, but Eintracht Frankfurt is having a really struggling time. They're hovering right around that relegation zone. And this was a team, for crying out loud, that won like the DFB Pokal, the German Cup, whatever you want to call it, like I think like 2 years ago, maybe just a year ago, against Bayern Munich in the final at the Olympic Stadion. So this is the amazing thing about the Bundesliga for me, is that it doesn't matter, like, in the English Premier League, there's teams that are top 6, and then there's teams that are in the mid table, and then there's teams that are just automatically just gonna get relegated. Same thing with Spain, just a little bit, even though Granada, not Grenada, I don't think that's a country. Granada, I think it is, came out of nowhere. Italy is the same thing, Juventus, but the Bundesliga, mid-table teams can get relegated. That's what crazy to me. Like, Schalke last year almost got relegated. Hamburg, one of the most historically most best clubs in Germany, got relegated like 2 seasons ago. So anything can happen in the Bundesliga. So a team like Eintracht Frankfurt can win the DFB Pokal last year and then be in a relegations battle. My very own Mainz 05 is currently like just above relegation playoffs, right above Fortuna Düsseldorf. So Timothy Chandler might not be, this is a team that's trying to find its way to stay in the Bundesliga where it should be. So the manager's tinkering and moving players to see if they could get results. Now, for our first Canadian men's national team, Alphonso Davies, that beautiful man right there. Alphonso Davies, if I'm going to be honest, probably had the best game. Out of everybody we're going to be talking about, Alphonso Davies had the best game. The Canadian men's national team player went the distance to help lead Bayern Munich to a 2-0 win over Union Berlin, but Union Berlin, and remained on top of the Bundesliga standings, 4 points clear of Borussia Dortmund. He did get a yellow card in the 36th minute, but we've already said, like, the season was on pause, the season was suspended, and now coming back to be on full fitness, Davies looked pretty good. Davies looked like one of the very few players out of the players we're going to talk about where he was ready. Give him the game, he was ready. And he had one of those moments, which video right now of me editing this. He had this moment, like, once again, where, like, he gave the player, which I can't remember, the Union Berlin's player that was in this. But, like, the dude had a good, like, 5 feet. A good, like, 5, 6, 8 feet on Alphonso Davies. Like, spreading into, try to get in the box. Davies just comes out of nowhere and says, nope, not today. And just runs alongside him, gets over, like, right up top, or, like, ahead of him, and then gets the ball out for a goal kick. Like, he just comes out of nowhere. It doesn't matter what mistakes he makes as long as he's able to come back from them with his pace. Obviously, with him growing, he's going to need to get better with his defending positioning. But offensively, getting into the final end and bringing those... if I'm going to be honest, Alphonso Davies watching the game probably should have had 2 assists. Every cross he had in the box was amazing. And they weren't, like, they were one-touch passes, too. They were, like, one-touch crosses into the box, and nobody could just put it in, or if it was just off by a hair. So, honestly, could have gotten 2 assists, and the Speed Demon himself, he just keeps amazing people, so he's been unreal, and his potential is up with some of the best in the world, so good for him. This one... Weston McKennie. He, on his other counterpart from Dortmund, which we're going to talk about later, actually played against Dortmund, or played in the game against Dortmund in the Royal Derby, and he went the full 90 minutes in Schalke's 4-0 loss to Borussia Dortmund in the River Derby. And Schalke used all 5 of their substitutions and tried to get a result, and Weston McKennie still stayed. In the 5 substitutions were made, Weston McKennie stayed on the field. So good news is that the coach, which is, I can't remember his name, but he's like a German-American coach, he trusts him. He trusts him. He's like, we might be losing 4-0, but I need you. You are my player in that defensive mid spot, central, in the midfield. I need you. So... obviously, there's trust and belief in him, but from my perspective, watching him, he didn't do that well. He did not do that well at all. His passing was but there are some major problems with him holding the ball. And, like, but the whole, like we said over and over and over again, coming back into the season once again, when you're supposed to be playing and you're not, and now you're restarting, makes it difficult. But he just lost the ball too many times. He just held the ball for too long, like 2-3 seconds of holding the ball, and then he lost possession. And that led to multiple Dortmund goals. Or at least might not directly have led to them, but like him losing the ball and then something else happened before or after, and then they scored. So I wouldn't say it was completely his fault, but it ended up leading to goals. So even though he went the full 90 and his coach trusted him and, values him, playing wise, that specific game he did not do too well. Alvaro Morales, which who knows where he's going to be with the U.S. men's national team. I think he's 30 years old. Probably not going to be there, but we'll still talk about him. He got subbed on for Marcel. I lost it. Oh no, my cat. Marcel Sabotka in the 68th minute, but was unable to help Fortuna Dusseldorf earn 3 points, which, by the way, are in the 3rd spot for relegation playoffs. So they are in a deep struggle right now to stay up. To be honest, he didn't really play that good. Obviously, 0-0 draw, he didn't do anything. So we'll skip him. We'll go on. Josh Sargent. I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you guys haven't seen rumors, it was a really small rumor, but apparently Juventus are looking at Josh Sargent. Now, like, seeing him and looking at him in games. That can mean many different things, but he's getting some talk. But when you're with this Werder Bremen team, right now, Werder Bremen, I'm pretty sure, actually, I could check again, they're in the bottom of the league. Very bottom, rock bottom right now. Their team, I think they have like the worst goals allowed record, and like they can't even score goals themselves. I think they also have like the worst scoring record in the league. So right now, Josh Sargent's probably going to get relegated with Werder Bremen no matter what. So if he wants to go to Juventus just to be some other project and stay in the reserves, who knows? Or maybe even, this is what I think, he should just stay with Werder Bremen. Because Werder Bremen's going to get relegated. They're going to lose high-valued players to bigger teams in top divisions. And that can open up for Josh Sargent. I hope he sees that and still sees a future at Werder Bremen, even though they might be in League 2. But he got subbed on at the very last minutes of the game, but couldn't do anything. Josh Sargent failed. Even though he failed to do anything, they lost. They did lose to Bayer Leverkusen 4-1 at home, which they have also the worst home record, by the way, let me tell you. Werder Bremen has the worst home record in the whole entire Bundesliga, so losing 4-1 at home is normal for them. But it's not his fault. Like I said, the worst defense in the league, too. So you gotta bring in the fact that he didn't, come on and made an impact. But his defense the whole game wasn't doing anything. So even if he did score a goal, they were gonna concede 3 other goals anyways. Oh, Werder Bremen. Werder Bremen. I don't know. It's about time they probably get relegated. Because since I used to start watching the Bundesliga back in like 2014, Werder Bremen were always a relegation team. I think there was only one season that Werder Bremen actually did pretty well. That was about it. Any news of Lucius Lioness getting a move out of Wolfsburg? No, I haven't seen anything. Not to give any free shoutouts or anything, but this week in MLS, you might know that. But I haven't seen anything about Lucius Lioness. He has a I don't know, I want to say he has a bright future, but at the same time, we just haven't seen him. The amount of Wolfsburg youth coaches that say, oh, he's amazing, and, he has all this talent, but just for the general viewer, the general U.S. soccer fan, we just don't know too much about him, because he's never on TV, because he's always on the reserves team. So, I think he does have a pretty good future, I just don't know how big it is. But for someone who does seemingly has a good future and has played some a lot of first game minutes in the Bundesliga, is Giovanni Reina, the former NYCFC academy product. Sad news of this game. Literally, first game of the whole return of the Bundesliga, and I think Fox Sports, I think US Soccer on Instagram, and a bunch of other U.S. soccer accounts, some sort of Bundesliga accounts, all posted Giovanni Reina getting his first start for Dortmund. And they had the whole lineup, and he was going to play, I think, on the left side, right with that whole line of Erling Haaland. But he got injured. He suffered an injury during warm-ups in Dortmund's 4-0 thumping of Schalke 04. So he didn't do anything. So when I was talking about Weston McKennie and how he didn't really do too well, but at least he played, unlike his counterpart. Giovanni Reina didn't even get the chance to play because he got injured during warm-ups. And then Torgan Hazard pretty much replaced him, and, by the way, scored BFB's 3rd goal. So, sadly for him, he got injured. Who knows what's going to happen if anything really major happened. If he, stubbed a toe and didn't feel like, I didn't feel like playing. Or he tore his ACL. Well, I don't know. Obviously, they don't show really warm-ups too much. So, who knows what the injury was, what it looked like, and what the diagnosis of the injury is now. Because I haven't seen anything yet. But let's hope it's good. Or not, it's definitely not going to be good. But hopefully it's short term and it's not going to affect him long term. And then, I guess we could talk about this person, but he's dealt with the injury now for a while, and that is Zach Steffen, the former Columbus Crew goalkeeper. He missed out on Fortuna Düsseldorf's 0-0 draw against Paderborn due to a knee injury, which he's had for a whole year, it seems like now. He's went from Fortuna Düsseldorf to Manchester City or Manchester to get this whole knee injury crap surgery thing out of the way, and it still somehow finds his way to be injured. If you're going to be the next Tim Howard, the next Casey Keller, any other goalkeeper that's ever played for the U.S. men's national team, you got to be able to play. You can't just be injured all the time and call yourself like the next Tim Howard. He still has a bright future, but he's going to have to figure out this knee injury before it ruins his whole career. Because the whole purpose of being loaned to Fortuna Düsseldorf is to get playtime. So that when you go back to Manchester City back on your loan, you'll start maybe playing for them, maybe being on the bench, but you're not going to be starting or on the bench if you're injured with a knee injury. And with it being correlating to a surgery and all this stuff, he's just not even going to be on the bench. So he just needs to figure out this knee injury and injuries alone, and then he'll make it. He'll be back. And he will be the next Tim Howard. Alright. It's been a while since I've talked on Instagram Live or just any video of me being live. So this is hurting my throat, and I'm not used to it. But yeah, we just went through all the players I wanted to talk about. So I think we kind of went through one question. But while there's no questions right now, I do want to say that thank you all so much for motivating me to doing this again. Like I said, there's times where I felt like I would never do this ever again, and I just didn't think it was going to happen. So thank you all for coming back and making me do this again, because I miss it. But for next episode, which will most likely be next week, I saw a suggestion, and that was to do 3 favorite stadiums you've been to. 3, I hold 2. 3 stadiums you've been to, and 3 stadiums you look forward to going to. So I'm going to do 3 of the stadiums that I've been to that I thought were the best, ranked 1, 2, and 3, and then rank 1, 2, and 3 for favorite stadiums I'm looking forward to going to or wish I would go to or whatever. So yeah, this was fun. I'll see you all next week. MLS United here. Peace. I'm going to continue the salute.